how my hormones made me a nihilist temporarily and how I came out of that and what I believe now. So, as some of you guys may know, those of you who have been following me for a while, I kind of went into this weird, only seeing everything from a materialist point of view. And it started making me really depressed, and I made videos about it on here. I re-clarified myself as an atheist as opposed to a panentheist. I went by, I'm a naturalist. That's what I called myself. Because even then, materialism still seemed a little bit of a harsh way of putting things. But that is how I saw the world at the time. Whereas in the past, after I left Mormonism, which I'd been raised in for 32 years, I became very kind of like New Age, esoteric. I loved occult philosophy and things like that, and I believed in all sorts of things. And, I came to this weird point after I had my daughter. I have 2 kids, and I have an 8-month-old baby right now, so this was 8 months ago that I had her. And I just slowly started getting disenchanted with the idea of all these spiritual things, and I couldn't really figure out why. And then when she was 6 months, I started weaning her. And for those who don't know, when you wean a baby, it's usually maybe starting around 6 months for some people or later for others. But it's not something that happens in just a week or just a month. You start the weaning process very slowly so that by the time they're maybe 12 to 18 months or more, they're used to eating regular food instead of drinking breast milk or formula. So since I breastfeed my daughter, I suddenly had to get her used to eating regular food, and so my body was going through this major change of kind of what are we doing? I thought we had to make all this milk and now we're making less. What are we doing? And I didn't realize at the time how much hormones, especially a drop in your hormones like that, can affect your worldview. It's really weird. And I started thinking well, maybe, I can listen to my intuition and also listen to science and see where they cross paths and things like that. And because I'm not someone who believes in just going with your feelings about everything. I still think that you need to have concrete evidence, proof, whatever, or at least something that has logic and reason in it before you put your belief in it. So I did the math and I was like, my nihilism started when I was just starting to wean my daughter. So anyway, that was really interesting. I didn't know that your hormones could actually make you have a tendency to believe something differently. But, I talked to ChatGPT about it, which I do. I talk about a lot of things to ChatGPT. And yes, that's totally a thing, is that your hormones can actually make you believe different things or influence you to believe things differently, I should say. And even, when I was first postpartum with my daughter, that's when I kind of started feeling this disenchantment thing, because after you give birth, you also have a huge drop in your hormones. And what I was experiencing wasn't really postpartum depression. It was just, I just saw things so differently. I've had this mistrust of a lot of things. Maybe that was just an instinctive protection of my baby or something. I don't know, but there were ideologies that I didn't want to trust anymore because I didn't want to look like an idiot, or I don't know what it was, but I just felt like I couldn't anymore. And then after my body got a little more back to normal, I feel the spirituality come back. It's just so weird. Anyway, so what do I believe now? I actually didn't know what to call myself anymore because going through this experience made me very grounded. It made me stop believing in things like ancient aliens and stuff like that, which I used to believe before. Now I don't. I think I would need a lot more evidence before I believe something like that. But I still call myself an atheist, not a panentheist. But that's just because I don't believe in any personified God. I don't believe that God is a singular person. I don't believe there are any deities like, controlling things and judging people and whatever. But I was I was trying to research different philosophers, and I was like, okay, do I agree more with Baruch Spinoza or the ideas of Giordano Bruno? I love Giordano Bruno. He went through so much. Just look up his story. It's insane. Because they both had kind of a pantheist or maybe panentheistic kind of point of view. I was like, do I agree more with them? And I was looking at different philosophies, and I found that I actually agree the most with Hegel. Not everything Hegel says. I need to read up more on Hegel. I have a couple Hegel books and I haven't read them yet. But I've just been generally looking into what he used to teach and things like that. And absolute idealism is what I tend to agree with the most, because it doesn't involve a God, but it still is about this greater spirit or the absolute that is over everything. And it's kind of like panentheism, but it's not a God. It's not a type of theism. It's this consciousness, I guess you could say nowadays, that is in everything. And it's not like panpsychism where like, oh, even like a little atom has a consciousness. Like, I don't know about that. I would need more evidence for that. But just this philosophy just makes the most sense to me, that there's a greater consciousness, so to speak, or spirit that we're all a part of, that all living things are a part of. So yeah, I hope to look into that more, talk about it more. And for those of you who follow Morg Official, he talks about this all the time. I didn't get this idea from him. I got it from just looking at lots of different philosophers. But those of you who follow Morg, tell him about this. Maybe send him this video because he's going to love that. Hegel's his favorite philosopher. But yeah, so I really, honestly, I'm a lot happier. I wasn't happy when I was in this nihilistic point of view. And I know that there can be nihilists who are happy. I fully acknowledge that. I've known people like that who are happy, and they have ways of dealing with that are comforting to them. Like, oh, living forever would be horrible. So, you might as well make the most of this life and whatever. For me, it just wasn't enough. I've lost both my parents. I've lost a cousin who was pregnant when she was hit by a drunk driver. All sorts of loss in my life. And that's not a reason, like, just because I don't like something doesn't mean my ideology that makes me feel better is true. But at the same time, I've been looking so much into the UVA studies on children who remember past lives, and I've been watching the show called Who Was I on YouTube, which is past life regression, where they actually look up historical facts about what people are saying in their past life regression, and it's like proving it true, basically. Anyway, all that kind of stuff. I've been looking at near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences that doctors talk about, and there's like no other way you can explain it. It's amazing. So my mind is much more open to that now. I've become a lot more spiritual, and I'm just so much happier. I feel like there's a piece of me that has returned, if that makes sense. So yeah, hope to talk about that more, but that's where I'm at now. I'm an absolute idealist, still an atheist though. And atheist just means you don't believe in any gods. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in a spirit or reincarnation. It just means you don't have a belief in deity. So hope that helps somebody who might be going through the same thing, and your hormones can really do a lot. So keep that in mind. And I'll talk to you guys later.